guys, how's it going? In this video, I'm going to be showing you the basics of color grading and how to turn this into this. So first, for color grading, I'm going to be using this picture, and I know it's not a video, but you would do the same thing for a video, so yeah, the first effect I'm going to use is brightness and contrast. Here, I'm going to pull it onto there. And it's very basic, and you can't do that much with it, but it's also very simple. So this thing controls how bright it is, so you can make it darker or brighter. And this controls the contrast, so you can make it more contrast or less contrast. And if there's less contrast, then it kind of goes faded and gray, and it's kind of gross. So definitely at least stay at, the normal amount of contrast or go more. It does make it look nicer, but you don't have much control over what you're doing, so yeah. Anyway, that's the brightness and contrast effect. Easy for some quick color grading. Now my main effect is curves. So this is the best effect for color grading on Hitfilm 4 Express, in my opinion. And as you can see, it's a graph. Now, this really confused me at the beginning because I couldn't find anyone who would explain it in a way that I'd understand, so I'm going to try and explain it as well as possible. This bottom line is the input color, and this line, the vertical line, is the output color. And this line is showing the relationship between those colors. So I know that sounds quite complicated, but just stick with me. For example, right here, this color here on the picture, any color this color, it would, if you go up like this into the line, you'll see it goes to the same color as the output. So this does nothing because like completely black turns completely black. Slightly gray turns to the same color of slightly gray. This kind of almost white turns to the same color. So in this graph, nothing's going on. But if I, for example, pull this down, then everything in the middle is getting slightly darker. Anything that's in the roughly of the middle color is getting slightly darker. So I hope that makes sense. So anyway, it's a really great thing because you can make very complicated shapes based on your needs. For example, like this S shape, or you can make as many, points as you want, pretty much. So you can do all sorts of stuff, but you can also choose what type of color you're grading. So you can grade RGB, that's red, green, and blue, so all of the colors, or you can focus only on red, only on green, only on blue, and alpha. I don't really know what that means, but it doesn't really matter. So first I'm going to go with RGB, and I'm just going to make it a little bit darker, just to give it a bit more contrast in the middle. But I'm going to leave the bright stuff how it is. Now I want it to kind of feel like it's sunset, which it is, but the picture didn't really capture the sunset very well, so I'm going to go on to red and take everything that's very bright, like the sun, for example, and I'm going to make it more red. So you can kind of see that now it looks more like it's, ready sunset. Now I don't want everywhere else to be very red, so I'm going to go on to the blue and the green, and I'm going to turn down I'm going to turn up the midtones, sorry. Now it's just slightly sharper looking image and a bit more sunsetty. So if I turn off the effect, you can see it does make a big difference. You don't really notice it as you're doing the effect, but it makes a huge difference. So I could also go back to RGB and make it all a little bit darker. So there you go. Yeah, there is a big difference with and without the effect. And it really makes it stand out more and looks like a nicer image. So yeah, that's basically how you color grade. Also, there is another effect called levels histogram, and I do use that sometimes, but I usually don't use it to color grade. I just use it to see where the colors are. So what you can see is here is a chart, and this is the darkest point and this is the brightest point, and it shows how much of the picture is dark and how much of it is light, and also what colors they are. So as you can see, the very dark stuff is blue and green. There's also a bit of red in the darkness, but it's mostly blue and green. And there's lots of like pretty much blackness, and there's a little bit of, very dark gray, but there's almost nothing in the midtones, and there's just one huge spike of red at the very bright, which obviously is the sun and also a bit of the sky. So you can see what the levels are, and it kind of works the same as the curves effect, because you have the input black and input white. So input dark colors and input white light colors, and then the output and the output. So you can make the input color of this area should turn completely black. So I don't know, I'm not very good at explaining, but I hope that makes more sense. There are other tutorials online. This is just my tutorial, so if this doesn't make sense for you, just check out some other tutorials. So, and the levels histogram, it's useful just to look at it to see where the colors are, because if you look at this histogram thing, you can tell that there's no midtones at all, pretty much. It's just dark and light, which does make it look quite nice. So that's pretty much how you color grade. And now I'm going to show you how to do the vignette effect. So yeah. Okay guys, so for this effect you're going to need well, your footage, obviously, and then you're going to have to put this effect on your footage. It's called the vignette effect. That's why it's a vignette. So yeah, as you can see, it immediately gives you kind of a vignette effect, and you can just leave it like that. But you can, if you open up the effect, you can see that there's lots of stuff to adjust. So you can adjust the curvature. So you can adjust the softness, which makes it more pronounced or less pronounced. So I like making it just much softer and pretty much leaving it as that, but you can play around with the width and make it, you know, kind of like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I also like, when I'm doing a vignette effect, another thing I like to add is a grade layer. And I don't put a vignette effect in it. I just go into the layer properties and turn the blend to soft light, which kind of makes it sharper, and yeah, I just think it makes it look better. So if I take away that, you can see. So yeah, that's pretty much all I do for a vignette effect. And then what you should look like this. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the vignette effect. It's very simple, and I kind of like it, but some people don't like it. So, you know, it's up to preference, but I think it looks kind of cool in this kind of shot. Makes it look more professional. So yeah, and that's pretty much the end of the video, so I'll see you next time.